What is going on? Welcome back to Fanatic Journey. So today we're going to talk to you about Polestar. Another day that they are showing that they are alive. It did go up 17.04%. I want to break it down on why and some other things that you need to consider when it comes to Polestar. So I'm going to go over all that, but first make sure to hit that thumbs up. And with that said, let's get right to it. So like I said, it did go up 17.04%. largely in the second half of the day, and that is because of this right here. So Polestar delivers first customer Polestar 3 electric SUVs. And so they also did match that with a couple posts on social media. So I think they definitely are doing fairly good operationally. And I've said that time and time again, Polestar kicks ass for production, and they have really invested quite a lot in their technology, and the Polestar 3 is a good representation of that. The stock price, not so much. So in reality, yes, this is very, very justified based on this. You do see some institutions somewhat paying attention to it. So for those of you that have kind of tuned into many of my Polestar videos in the past, you'll notice that institutions very much overlooked Polestar for a very long time. But as of today, you do see a lot of transactions occurring. One big one as well is the 2.42 million. Even a couple days back, 134 million. And then on the 21st was quite a lot. So institutions, for whatever reason, are finally paying attention to Polestar. So I think generally that's a good thing. But at the same time, it does bring some level of risk. And what I mean by that is, if we take a step back and look at everything, today is day number 26. And for those of you that are not familiar with that, any company on the NASDAQ trading below $1 for 30 consecutive trading days, this is where they do get delisted. Well, they get served with a delisting notice, and they ultimately have to rectify that in 6 months. More commonly than not, a company just does a reverse stock split to rectify that. But basically next week, right before July the 4th, I think it would be July the 3rd, that would be their 30th consecutive trading day. And one thing that could really make it or break it would be tomorrow. For those of you that do remember, Polestar did state to the SEC that they are going to be submitting their annual earnings, which right now is deficient, in June. Tomorrow is the last trading day in June. So in theory, their earnings could be coming out tomorrow. And whatever they've been hiding that's really suppressed Polestar, kind of caused it to go from like $1.20 to where it is now, that could really explode higher or validate all of this downtrend. So tomorrow, even though it was looking very, very appealing today, even after hours is going up additional 1.74%, tomorrow is going to be kind of the real bread and butter of Polestar. And actually that saying doesn't really make all that much sense, but obviously I'm sure you guys get what I'm saying. So yeah, tomorrow will be a very interesting day to kind of see about their earnings. And if it does not or is not submitted, then this is where they're more in a heap of additional trouble with the NASDAQ. So definitely a lot of volatility. And when it comes down to shorts though, shorts did return 239,000 shares today. 27.81 million shares overall are being shorted. Right now, it still does show NA for this because Ortex is, I guess, behind the scenes, their algorithms. They need their annual numbers, right? They need to know what the actual outstanding share count is. And without that, you can't really calculate this formula. So still, I don't know. We'll just wait and see. I don't anticipate shorts really doing all that much. So previously what it was at was like 12%. So it's probably within the 12 to 15% right now. Utilization, 81.28% short score. So the harder the number, the harder the likelihood of a squeeze happening is 80.91. Looking at options. So this is where you did see one very large entity get in for whatever reason, but 139,000 in calls today, 182 in puts. Sentiment wise, 64% of all the options being done today were neutral. So overall, somewhat evenly divided when it comes down to that. Looking at the call options, there's more of an anticipation for July the 19th expiry date for it to be above $1. And then on the flip side, more so sub $1 by July. And so obviously I think Polestar overall hasn't been the most popular when it comes down to options. So we'll just have to wait and see. But it's kind of good to see that institutions are paying attention to it. This is the last week in Q2. So you are going to be seeing a lot of institutions just rebalancing. And that's probably where a lot of the volume is being derived from. But still, it's good to see. Aside from that, though, this is the latest analyst ratings. So upon their earnings, assuming it is tomorrow, you should see a lot of analyst ratings. And whether, dependent on what the issue was that the auditor found, you could see some maybe $2 plus ratings, or vice versa. You could see more duplicate $1, or I've never really seen sub $1 for EVs, so maybe they might just kind of omit it or whatever else. But nonetheless, analysts will be piggybacking their ratings based on the earnings. So once again, we'll just have to wait and see. Aside from that, not really much changes for that. Looking at the latest Morningstar report, it still does show the fair market value for Polestar based on its assets being $2.33. So that has gone down slightly. I believe it was at like 260 or 270 prior to this. So a little bit more of a reduction when it comes to that. So aside from all of that fun stuff, let's move on to where we are at. So after hours, we're currently sitting at 84 cents. So currently between this S1 and the pivot. So it's kind of regained some strength. I've said in the past, like it's actually sold off quite significantly, but at times it's able to hold its gains. And I feel like right now, based on a lot of the multiples, people cannot justify to sell for lower than this. Like it just does not make any sense whatsoever. So I think, again, their earnings will really cause either validate where we're at or kind of cause it to go up. I don't really see much more downside unless it did physically kill someone or do something crazy, but I don't really see much downside in my opinion. But one point to really watch for, 70 cents is going to be that next strong support. So it did have that as the low today. So it bounced off of that general area. 99 cents is going to be that next strong resistance / target. And it does need to get above that in the next couple of trading days. Like I said, today was day number 26 and 30 consecutive trading days below $1. This is where things get interesting for Polestar. And I feel like that could also prompt a little bit more of a sell-off as a byproduct of that. But today was fairly good nonetheless. So you did see a nice transition from the lower to the higher percentile of the boiling band. Looking at stochastic, you do see a nice bullish deviation. So white line above the red. And as well, it is still considered very oversold throughout this whole time period. Very oversold. So like I said, now for the 5th time, their earnings could really change the dynamic of this and cause it to really go up significantly from there. Number of retail investors have been buying up, not really as much institutions, but still it's good to see retail finally getting back into Polestar because it's been a very long time since they've done that. So let me know your thoughts on Polestar. Give yourself a shout out if you have been buying, if you've been selling. What do you think of this news right here? So about Polestar delivering its first customer vehicles, or the Polestar 3. Like, do you think that's a good thing, bad thing? And what do you think for compliance purposes? Do you think we're going to see earnings tomorrow? Or do you think that we're going to be seeing a delisting notice? Of course, 6 months will be granted, but still, do you think that is going to be coming? Don't forget to hit that thumbs up and subscribe. And one final thing, take advantage of this promo. Simply sign up for a new account, throw $100 at it, and they give you 5 free stocks. Each stock is valued up to $2,000. Take advantage of this. Link in the description below and also the comments. With all that said, I appreciate all of you watching.